What is up, Sushis? Today we're back inside a Runner Restaurant, and today we're going to be going over the ultimate farming setup so that you guys can easily go ahead and produce everything you need to make the tropical cooler and the truffle risotto, since you can make some serious cash with this setup. So let's go ahead and get into this. All right, so before we get into actually showing the build and everything, the first thing you guys are going to need is sugarcane. You're going to need to have coconut trees, pineapple plants, corn crops, carrot crops, and mushroom crops. Now, I'll give you guys almost the exact number you need. It's going to be a little bit different for everyone. But for me, I have about 24 sugarcane, so get somewhere around there. You're also going to need about 110 coconut trees, about 70 pineapple plants. You're going to need about 80 to 90 corn crops, about 80 to 90 carrot crops, and about 100 to 120 of the mushroom crops. I know it's going to take a while to get all those, but that's the amounts you're going to need for everything. Now, just the basics before we start up. You guys are pretty much going to have to use the same little setup that is used for everything. So I'm going to go through this part a little quick because I'm sure everyone knows by now this setup. You're pretty much going to need a pig farm, a cow farm. Put in 19 cows and the rest filled up with pigs is what works for me. It might be different for you. And then place in your titanium fridge and box it off. And then put as many windmills as you can around it. Now, I went through that a little quick because it's the same for everybody. Pretty much everyone uses that same exact method. Now, from there, you're going to go ahead and place down rows of fridges and rows of sprinklers, okay? I like to put the sprinklers behind it. Obviously, if you have the larger sprinklers, it helps more. But if you have some small ones, you could use those too. Just make sure you have a sprinkler for every single fridge. And we're going to be using the greenhouse, so make sure you put this somewhere. It honestly doesn't matter where you put it. Literally just put it anywhere on the build, okay? So now that you got that set up, you're also going to put all your fridges down wherever you want because you're going to need a lot. I have about 217,000 storage, so just make sure you have a lot of fridges, okay? And then also, before we get into what else we need to do, head inside and go to your farmers, and you're going to want to make sure you have your farmers decently leveled up, because the more you have these leveled up, the better they actually are, the faster they can harvest, the more they can hold, and all that stuff, because you're going to need ingredients pretty quickly, okay? And for ranchers, you're going to make sure you only have 2 ranchers equipped. Set them to anything, and then just make sure you have them set to the correct floor. So I have mine on level 8. It does get a little expensive if I try to train anymore. So just try to get them like level 8. You really only need 2 of them, so focus 2 of them and get them as leveled up as much as you can. And then for the farmers, again, get as many farmers as you can. I don't have the pay to win one, so just get them all and then just level them up. I'm trying to get them all to level 7. And pretty much for them all, you're just going to go ahead and have them harvest literally everything. And yeah, pretty much just literally have them harvest everything. I'll just go through the settings and boom, you know, just set them up like that. So now let's get into what we need to do. So, like I said, this method is going to be for the truffle risotto, which you're going to need the truffles, which come from the pigs. You're going to need cheese, and you're going to need mushrooms. So that's why we need a lot of mushrooms. And then you're going to need sugar, coconuts, and pineapples. And then you're also going to need the corn and the carrots to actually feed the pigs and the cows. So let's go ahead and get into this. So what I like to do, some people like making rows of all the plants, but what I like to do is literally just place things everywhere. And the reason for that is because if you start leveling up the farmers a lot, they have a chance to scythe, which means they can farm up the neighboring plants. Now, if they scythe an entire row of, let's say, coconut trees, you're really only going to get coconut trees right there. Whereas if they're all scything and getting literally any plant next to it, you're gonna have a higher chance that it farms up all the different plants that you need pretty much all at once when they're near it. So that is why a lot of people like to start doing this now, where they kind of just go around, spam all the plants everywhere, and kind of just spread them all out. So no matter what, if they do scythe, pretty much they're gonna get everything. And then you're gonna take your pineapples and again just kind of go through, spam everything anywhere you can. Just go ahead and put down one of those plants. So as you can see, I'm literally just clicking, making sure every little spot has a little of something. We're gonna place down the corn as spread out as you can. Just kind of go like this. It's fine if you get some sections that have a lot of it together. I mean, you know, it's fine. You don't have to make sure it's perfect. So now we got our carrots. Again, just spam these down every single spot you can. And then I'm gonna show you guys what you need to do for the drinks. Okay, now I'm not claiming any of this as my own. This has been used by other people and stuff like that. I'm just simply showing you guys a really good setup to use to go ahead and, you know, get as productive as you can. So now we're going to go ahead and take the mushrooms. What I like to do for the mushrooms, since they do take forever, is I like to get those at least as close as I can to the sprinklers. This way they grow priority, and as well as you can, as close as you can to the greenhouse, so that they get harvested more. Not farvested, harvested more. So yeah, just make sure at least for those you kind of get those mostly near sprinklers and stuff, because they take the longest and you need them for the recipe. So there we go. You should pretty much have every single spot. Like I said, I don't have all of the mushrooms yet, so I can't do the entire setup, but it should look something like this after. You should have pretty much everything all scattered out, and you'll have all the crops you need for both recipes. Now, the only thing you need to do, you guys will have seen this setup from my last video I reviewed. And if you come down here, you're gonna want to make sure you have maxed out amounts of the brand new processing stations, because this is where you're gonna get the sugar and the cheese that you need to make both the recipes, because you're gonna need the sugar for the drink and the cheese for the food. So what I personally did, I did fill out every single one that you can. I did 3 full rows of sugarcane, because the pineapples you're gonna need a lot of, and as you can see, pineapples we kind of get a little less of, and then you're gonna also need to get, well, not pineapples, I meant to say the sugar. The sugar you get a lot less of than the pineapples. So I like to have the sugar more. So I did about 3 rows of sugar, and then the rest of it's just going to be milk. Honestly, you could do more rows of sugar than getting the cheese, because, I mean, yeah, you kind of need less, but that's pretty much what worked for me. It might be different for you guys. Just make sure you find a spot in your restaurant somewhere to put in all of these, and then that is going to be the 2 recipes you use, and you'll be making a lot of money. Okay, I think literally in just a few hours I can make like, I think $20 to $30 million with the current stuff that I have. It's pretty OP. Okay, it is definitely pretty OP. But yeah, go ahead and use that. Full credits to, you know, everyone that made the designs. I used kind of a few different people's ideas into just kind of one. You know, I used the whole layout from the last video I did, and then combined it with doing the method of spamming everything everywhere and stuff. So yeah. But anyways, this is going to be like the ultimate farm for the new recipes. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys later.